Hey guys, thanks so much for stopping by. My name is Austin, and today we are looking at the McFarlane Toys Digital DC Direct Superman DC The Silver Age figure. Uh, it's a long name. McFarlane likes their long, intricate titles. This is from the DC Direct line, which I'll be honest, I'm not entirely clear what the difference is now between Direct and Multiverse. This is, for all intents and purposes, a multiverse figure. It follows the same exact general idea, and from what I understand, Direct was supposed to be a more comic book shop option. I found this at Target, which is not a comic book shop, I don't think. So yeah, I don't really know what the naming conventions are for this stuff anymore. To be honest, I'm not a big McFarlane collector. I pretty much just pick stuff up as I like it, and this one scratched an itch for me that none of the other classic Supermen have really done. It's nothing terrible. It's just not really enough for me to throw my money down on it. This one was, and I'm on a bit of a kick right now with the James Gunn movie getting ready to come out, hoping that that's good, and I got excited, so I picked this up. We'll go ahead and get straight into it, talk about the good, talk about the bad, see if it's something that you'd like to pick up and add to your collection. To start off with, we'll take a look at the box. The box is pretty classic, just a standard. Well, actually, it's not really a standard McFarlane box. I really like the way that this box looks. It's similar size, or probably identical size, but a little bit more color. There's kind of a gradient on the side here. It does the same name where it gives you the name and then what source material it's from. This is kind of just supposed to be a basic Silver Age Superman, despite the fact that really this design can fit into most any Superman display. I mean, it's a classic look, and he's got this look for a lot of different arcs. So the art on the back, which also matches the art for the trading card, pretty standard again, usual McFarlane stuff. I really like this. It actually accentuates the figure. It doesn't detract from it like in some cases. This is a pretty accurate comparison to me. So yeah, box art is good. A little bit of space there for the light to come in. I like it. I like the background. You can see the McFarlane logo in the back, which I do think is a good logo. You see the logo on the bottom there. It's a good package. It's fine. That's about it for that. Next, we'll go ahead and take a look at the aesthetics. Up close now with the DC Direct Superman Silver Age. This is, from what I can tell, pretty much complete reuse. I don't think the head is a new sculpt. It's probably their best Superman sculpt, so even if it isn't new, I'm not bothered by that. I really like this head sculpt, but like I said, I'm not the biggest McFarlane fan, so if it is brand new, then good on them. But I feel like I've seen this one before a few times. But this body is the kind of basic Superman body that they've been using for a few different things. It's a really good one. I'm not surprised that they're reusing it a lot because it is very, very effective, and I love the overall look of this guy. Not a lot of paint, but to be fair, it's not a figure that needs a ton of paint. They did kind of go the extra mile, if you want to say, and they painted the belt buckles, which I think is or belt loops, sorry, not buckles. I like that. I'm glad that they went ahead and did it. You know, obviously you're not really seeing the back that often, but it's worth it. It's not a lot of paint, so you might as well get it done, do it correctly. And to be clear, the yellow is the painted part, and then the red is the actual molded plastic color. So looks good. They did the S on the back, which they hadn't always been doing, but I'm glad that they've started, and this kind of had to be here for this version of the character. That classic yellow shield on the cape, I mean, that's just, it's iconic, right? One thing I will note, I'm not a huge fan of the black outline on the S shield. It looks a little bit more like, you know, like a tampo rather than something that's actually an emblem on the suit, but it's not horrible. It's not the end of the world. That's more of a nitpick than anything else. I don't think it takes away from the figure too much. The soft goods cape with the wire, we'll talk a little bit more about it in posability, but it's done extremely, extremely well. It looks like it's tucked into the collar, which is perfect for Superman. It's a great cape. I love it that McFarlane is doing these soft goods capes, and it's one of those things that makes me sad that they're losing the license, because I highly doubt Mattel is going to follow suit. And anyways, not going to get into all that, because we're focusing on the action figure right now, not the state of the toys industry, right? So that's about it. First, not entirely it. Something to note: there is some paint detail on the hair, which is perfect It gives that comic book look. You know, when you have a character with jet black hair, you'll do these blue highlights, and it's done just enough for it to show up. It's not too much. It doesn't look ridiculous. It doesn't look like he dyed his hair. It just gives that comic book shading that's so perfect. All in all, the aesthetics on this guy are great. I love the look of this figure. But next, we'll look at the pretty meager assortment of accessories. Looking at accessories now, we have the fists that come on the figure in the package. These are good. They're well sculpted. There's something to be said for the size. I'm not sure how well it looks. I don't think it looks too bad, but I have heard people say that his fists are too big. It doesn't really bother me too much, but yeah, the fist sculpt is good. Then other accessories, we're going to speed through this because not much to talk about. You get the hands. Once again, argument could be made that they're too big, but I like them. These work well for either hands on the hips or flight poses. Moving them around too much, my camera's getting mad. I think they're good. You know, you run into the issue of, could we have gotten maybe more sets of hands? Did we need to double up on what these are for? Because they don't really look great for flight. They look better for holding the waist. So I don't know. They're fine enough for what they are, but that's really all they are, you know. Then you get the trading card. I really like these. I like that McFarlane includes them. I'm a collector of trading cards to an extent. I play the card games, and so I don't mind it. I like the little bio that they do on the back. I appreciate it when the bio is specific to the run. Sometimes they don't do that. With this, it's a classic Superman, so it really can be the basic bio. But I like this. It's got good card art, and I have binders, so I will have a place for the trading cards. But I don't think that it adds too much cost to the figure to say that it shouldn't be there. The thing that I don't understand is this. It's not a digital figure. It's a physical figure. Maybe if I cared about NFTs, I would care about this, but I could not give less of a crap about a digital showroom. This is really stupid. If anybody's interested in this, I don't know, let me know. I'll send you the code. I'm not even interested in scratching it off, but I just think this is so stupid. But that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. Then you get, following the digital idea, the typical McFarlane base. I usually like these. I hate this one. I don't know why we're advertising this stupid idea that is just not going to last. I like the logo for McFarlane Toys, but I hate it. I'm not collecting digital toys. I'm collecting physical action figures from the DC Multiverse line. Put DC on here. There's nothing DC related. The bases are already kind of just a pack-in thing that isn't really necessary. So to do it in this way, where I don't even want to keep this one because it doesn't have anything to do with the figure I'm actually buying, I don't know, it's a disappointment. Another disappointment is that this isn't just a flight stand. Flying characters typically get flight stands from McFarlane Toys. I've always appreciated that they did that. They're not high-quality flight stands, but they do the job. You know, they hold the figure in the air for the most part. This won't. Superman's a flyer. He's not a stander. It would be nice to have a little bit more in the way of accessories. I can't lie and act like I'm happy with the accessories on this guy. It's definitely the biggest failing point of this figure. But on to more positive things, we'll look at the posability. So discussing the posability, there's a lot of positives and a few negatives that we are going to consider. Starting off at the very top, base of the neck has a ball peg. It's got decent range. The tilt side to side is really, really good. You can look down really well. That's good. But the up is pretty limited. For a flying character, I'd like a little bit more up than that. You can engage the chest, the diaphragm, and get him looking up, which is good. You know, it's fine. It doesn't look terribly unnatural. It just would be nice to have a little bit more up. I'm not saying that I would like a hinge joint because I don't want a hinge joint, but maybe a little bit more range on that ball peg would be nice. Talking about the diaphragm, you've already seen how much back he gets. Pretty good. Oh, really? A McFarlane figure that can't go forward. Crazy. Why can't we do that? Why is that not a thing? This is why I don't collect this line. Why can't you crunch forward? It's so, I don't know. Anyways, whatever. Doesn't matter. Side to side, it does matter. It matters a lot. Side to side is really good. Really like that. it's so funny to me that every other direction is good, but he can't really even hula hoop because he won't go forward. This is basically neutral. I don't know why this is so tough to do, but whatever. Maybe the waist joint will do better. No, the waist joint goes back. It'll help him arch back, but it also won't go forward. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? The arm rotator cuff, I like this. It's good. It's basically just a long ball peg with a little cover on it, which works well, allows for a lot of range of movement, keeps the sculpt looking natural. You can use that rotator cuff to get up over 90. Really good. Looks a little goofy, but I think it looks good for an action figure. You get bicep swivel, which is a little bit tougher to engage with the rotator cuff, but it's there. You can go all the way around. Double jointed. Elbows, really heavy ratchets. I hate the ratchets on these figures, but deep bend, like that a lot. Looks good. Then you get to the wrists, typical McFarlane wrists, kind of like that import style. They can hinge or swivel depending on what you want, what you're looking for. Pretty good, like that. When we get down to the crotch, you've got McFarlane style joints. This kind of weird ratchet system works well for splits. Splits are never a problem with these figures. Forward goes about 90. That's enough for a Superman. You're not really needing much more of a high kick. Butt looks kind of goofy, but that just is what it is. Goes back an okay amount, because the crotch piece is more rubbery. It does allow for more back, so that's nice. I appreciate that. I get down to the knee, and he will crunch all the way in. It's a really good knee. It looks a little weird, but gets the job done. Yeah, he'll kick his own butt, right? Down to the ankle. There's no boot cut, I don't think. I think it's just a break in the sculpt, so I'm not gonna push that too much. It would be nice to have a little boot cut, but I don't think it's the end of the world. It's not gonna kill anything. I like McFarlane's ankle design. It's very smooth. They used to have much more unsightly ball pegs, but now it still has that same kind of style. Heavy detents on the ratchets, which not great, but really crazy pivot. Goes all the way around, does whatever you could possibly want it to do. Pretty good. Toe joint, it's a good looking toe joint. It's tight enough. I don't really typically put a lot of weight on the toe joint just to be safe, but yeah, looks good. All in all, articulation's great on this guy, and if you're ignoring the absolutely atrocious diaphragm. I don't know why we can't have better diaphragms on McFarlane figures. Maybe one day we would have gotten them if they didn't lose the license, but that, as well as maybe looking up a little bit more. But that's all I've got for posability on this guy, so we're going to move into the comparisons. To start off the comparisons, we have something that's not in scale with this figure, but just for more of a visual comparison to really show how striking the colors are on this release. Mafex Dark Knight Returns Superman and Hush Superman. The Hush Superman is and probably always will be my favorite figure, just because of how much I like Jim Lee's artwork. But honestly, putting these up against each other, you can kind of see how dull the coloring is on the Mafex Hush as opposed to the McFarlane. And really, that coloring seems more in line with a traditional Superman. So it's actually a pretty good indication of how well McFarlane did on their colors for this. Sticking with the 6-inch scale, the next comparison we have is the Mezco 1/12 Collective Man of Steel Superman, and I believe it's called the Rebirth Suit Superman, but basically the Death and Return figure. Again, these aren't supposed to be in scale, they're 6-inch, but this to me is the best for your money, for what you get, the best Superman figure. I love this thing. And when you put it up against the McFarlane, barring accessories, articulation, all of the things that Mezco does well as an import company, it really does hold a candle to it. The difference in cost, this is about $100, this is about $25. When you just look at the representation of a classic Superman, this one really does hit all the marks that this one hits. It's just that if you're willing to shell out the extra money, this is absolutely the way to go. But This is a really great, really solid offering from McFarlane, and it stacks up well against these two, even though these are very, very well regarded figures. And honestly, you know, they earn it. They earn their place. This Rebirth suit is one of my favorite designs, and I love that mulleted head sculpt. I love everything about it. The skin tones, I will say, are really beating the McFarlane. It's a much more lively, much more human-looking skin tone, whereas this is a little bit pale. But yeah, comparing between a titan of industry and, I mean, this is also a titan of industry, but you know what I mean. It really does hold its own. So going into some comparisons that actually scale well with the McFarlane Superman, we have the only McFarlane Batmans that I have in my collection, other than the set of movie figures that they did. This is the Nightfall McFarlane and the Arkham Knight McFarlane. I'm gonna see how many times I can say that last name in this video. The Nightfall is a bit of a smaller Batman. I think everybody kind of knows that. It's a great look overall, but it really isn't up to the scaling. It's one of the things that keeps me from collecting the multiverse line right now. I hate inaccurate scaling, and if you have them standing straight up and down, it just doesn't look quite right. Arkham Knight Batman, on the other hand, is absolutely ginormous. I think this works better because he's wearing an armored suit. You know, he's wearing high-tech stuff. His boots are probably adding quite a bit of height. So this works okay for me, especially when you consider the fact that we're probably never going to get an Arkhamverse Superman. This is probably your best bet, especially if you wanted to customize something. These, I would say, scale better and look good, but these visually look really good. You know, you have two classic characters. I really like it, and if you can do some modifications to this Batman to add some height to him, that would work. He probably also scales well with the Hush. I never picked up that figure because I didn't like the overall look of it. It wasn't really worth it, and it was too hard to find at the time. So that's what I've got for Batman. Now moving on, we have Clark Kent. This guy looks like Batman, but he's actually Speeding Bullets, Elseworlds Superman. I think he's technically called Batman, but it's Clark Kent. And then here's the classic animation Fleischer Superman. These two obviously scale together perfectly because they are basically the same exact sculpt, just different paint jobs. But they really do look good together. And honestly, it's the reason why I got this figure, because I like the way that they stack up. You know, the colors contrast really, really well. It shows that gradual change in Superman's outfit and how you can have basically the exact same silhouette, but in the finer details, you can have a completely different look for the character. These guys don't scale as well. This Batman is a little bit stumpier, I guess. On his own, he doesn't really look that short, but when you put him up against this newer figure, scale creep is a bit of a thing, and it's affecting these guys, but it's still a really good figure, and you can probably pose them up well enough to have them fit in. Overall, size-wise, I think this Superman does a pretty good in-between on the different scales that we've seen from McFarlane. You know, they're not very consistent, but this guy is going to fit in pretty well, I would say, for most of your McFarlane figures. That's all I have for comparison, so now we'll move on to the conclusion. Wrapping up my review on the McFarlane Toys Digital DC Direct or DC Multiverse Superman DC The Silver Age. There's so much McFarlane and DC happening right now. I don't know what I'm doing. This is a really good figure. It's a really solid release from McFarlane. If you already like this line, if you are already collecting the multiverse line and you're not so disheartened by the news of them losing the license, this is worth picking up. If you're not really a big collector of the line, it's probably only worth it if you absolutely love Superman and you don't want to get one of the offerings from Mafex or Mezco. There's a lot of M's in action figure collecting. It's a solid release for $25. It just needs better articulation in the chest. You can see that it's pulling off this pose really well. This looks really good. I mean, I don't think you can expect much better from this more classic Superman pose, but he just doesn't crunch forward enough, and his head doesn't look back enough for a flying pose. It's just not quite enough. But for the $25 price tag, it's okay. Then you consider the absolute ridiculous lack of accessories. I mean, only one alternate set of hands is an insult. I'm sorry, it should have had something more. It should have had a replacement head. It should have had a flight stand. I don't know why they've all of a sudden stopped offering those. Maybe they have a digital flight stand that I'm not aware of, but it doesn't really help much with our physical action figures. All in all, I would give this, I have a ranking system that I am trying to implement. I'll throw it up on the screen. It goes first grade, high grade, real grade, master grade, perfect grade. That's from the line of Gunpla model kits, which is kind of my main interest, despite the fact that I'm not reviewing many of them right now. I'm gonna say for this one, it's only gonna get high grade. It's a decent enough price, but for what you're getting in the box, I just can't justify going any higher. Only get it if you find it on sale, or if you're a big fan, or if you're already collecting the DC Multiverse line, and you're not just gonna hold off until Mattel starts releasing whatever garbage they release next year, which I have no hope for the Multiverse line at that point. McFarlane has its issues, but it at least seems to be a company that tries to learn. Todd seems to actually care about the collector base, and it seems like they listen to what people request. They obviously haven't implemented all of the changes, but they are going in some great directions with their paint apps and with their capes. I mean, they're really making strides, and all of that seems to be going by the wayside because they're losing the license, and now we have a company who I have no faith in taking over. So I'm going to collect the McFarlane figures that I like when I see them, and I'm going to stick with my imports for other DC characters, and hopefully Mattel might be able to wow us. I don't know, we'll see. But anyways, that's been my review for this figure. If you liked, please leave a like. If you didn't like, leave a dislike. But also, please let me know why in the comments. I'd love to hear some ways that I can improve. Any criticism you might have, I'm open to hearing it. And what would you guys like to see? The next review that I'm going to be releasing is the Ultimate Iron Man, but I'd love to make reviews for anything that you guys are interested in. So that is all the time I'm going to take today. Hope you guys have a good one, and all right, peace out.